Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 24th of January, comes to you from Verbier in Switzerland. And not a lot happened overnight. I mean, dollar is continuing to fall on the short-term chart, so we're seeing quite a bit in currencies just coming off further. US markets and European markets yesterday fell. We are seeing in Asia some rises overnight, so that's encouraging. And some commodities are mixed, and we'll take a look at that. And then just US tech, which looked a bit strong again last night. So we start with the dollar index. We're really nudging this 100 level. Not probably as psychologically as important as, say, a currency rate because it's an index, but nonetheless, we are just seeing the dollar now nudging this 100 mark. We do have targets to 97 and 99, 97.30 and 99.50. So we are just seeing really some potential short-term downward pressure. That's not really showing up on the long-term charts, and we might find some support here on the cloud as well. So there will be a point soon where this dollar sell-off is possibly overdone, but keep an eye out for these charts. And we don't have any medium upswing targets, so we're sort of wedged between a very bullish long-term position and quite a bearish short-term position. So we've just got to see how that develops. Taking a look at the euro, we see the euro is now looking pretty strong actually, not on the long and medium term charts, but we see her on the short term charts. We've got this quite a few targets here now, 108.50, 108.90, 109.70 and 110 even. So we are seeing euro strength kicking in as that dollar weakness kicks in. And just resolving how much of that's the dollar or how much of that's the euro, we're looking at the Japanese yen. We see it's very much dollar weakness here, yen strengthening just over the last few days quite strongly. So the long-term position is still that the yen is strong based on the weekly chart, but the medium-term lagging line is above here quite convincingly. We need to move to new highs to activate these targets. So it's too early to say that the dollar is on a big run until we see that on the yen. Sterling had a great day yesterday. It's been at its highest level for a while now, and what's interesting is it's really just playing to get through this lagging line on the medium term chart. We're seeing the strength here. We do have a target to 125.60. We're not far off that now, but we still do have these downside targets hanging over us. And when we look at the columns of X's here, the rises there, they're still in the context of things, just a counter trend move. So it's too early to say that sterling is recovering. And if we look at the sterling euro rate, we see here how sterling's had that strengthening as well just over recent days. Looking at the Swiss franc, quite poignant for me in Switzerland at the moment. Everything seems very expensive here. 125 is the rate, and that's just gradually crept up. So sterling is recovering and has been through on the lagging line on the cloud, and it looks like it might just potentially get above. It's in a sort of transition phase at the moment. And then looking at the dollar rate, Australian dollar, we see here again sterling quite strong. Is it finding support here in the cloud? Or we're just testing these lows. Will we go lower? It's way too early to say whether sterling is putting in a long-term recovery. Taking a look at the S&P 500, we were down just about 0.4% last night. Nothing untoward really. We are very much in this sideways range. Still mostly upside targets on the medium term. A few downside targets kicking in here on the shorter term chart, but we're still bullish, hanging on above the cloud. Nasdaq was down just slightly less, but not a great deal less at 0.27% overnight. And we're seeing here that we are just still looking pretty bullish on all three time frames. So a little bit of a sell-off, but nothing massive to worry about. The Russell 2000, we were saying yesterday, looking a little bit bearish below the cloud. That continues, and we're off 0.3% yesterday. The Dow just on this 19,800 level, just again looking a bit bearish here. But we shouldn't be surprised to see that breaking at some point. The futures are down very slightly, this morning here, but at the moment there's no real heads up as to which way the market will open up today. FTSE is just falling in the short term. This potentially is a downside thrust target column when this locks, so it'll be interesting to see that. But at the moment, I'm still looking pretty bullish on the medium and long term, but we are below the cloud quite clearly now on the 60-minute chart. And the same on the FTSE 250. If we look at that, we're below the cloud here, and we do have a downside target. It's about 0.5% away that we're still moving towards. But the long and medium term charts here look great as well. Yesterday we looked at the DAX, and the DAX was actually above on the 60-minute chart. It's just now sort of moving below in choppy conditions. So we're seeing here just a continuation pattern where we break higher. China overnight, both the Hang Seng and the Shanghai Composite up 0.2%. So at the moment, we're just not quite activating this downward target. So mixed picture here. And if we take a look at the Sensex, up nearly 0.5%. The Indian market's starting to look pretty strong, actually. Not quite through on the cloud yet, but we've got some amazingly strong targets here. Really big long-term secular trend there, potentially in India. And the Australian market up 0.7%, so actually the strongest performing market versus Asia, and we're just seeing here that we are below the cloud still. So the picture is very similar for many stock markets at the moment. Taking a look at Brent crude, up 0.5% this morning at 55.50. We're still seeing those targets into the high 50s, so bullish above the cloud on all three time frames. So long term, medium term, and short term is bullish. And if we take a look at a Texas Light Intermediate, we're seeing here the same thing. We're bullish above all three time frames. US Nat Gas last night was up nearly 1%, so that's a strong showing as well. Not yet above the cloud here. We do have a target of $3.42 for gas, and that's a 4.5% upside potential, so keep an eye on that. Coffee was up quite strongly overnight. We're up at 1.4%, so that's quite interesting, and we're seeing here on this chart a really quite a strong run, gunning for this 157 target that was put in way lower, and that's 1% higher. So still not fully bullish on the medium term. Gold we've talked about a lot lately. And we're $1,200.15 at the moment. That's pulled back just a couple of dollars, but a bullish position here. Not yet bullish in the medium term, but it'll be interesting to see when this column locks. That gives us our recovery. This is the sort of thing we start to look for on any charts like the euro, where we see the medium term charts starting to give clearer signs of recovery. Not yet showing up on those charts, but it is starting to show up through on the gold in terms of we're seeing some quite significant column building here. And we've got these medium-term targets, 1237, 1228. So we see gold just continuing its run the new year. Interestingly, we saw last year gold did very strongly in the first half. Maybe we're seeing something similar this year. Silver is also looking strong, not quite as strong as gold, but we are above here on the medium term. A little bit more mixed on these charts, but we still do have a long-term picture that's up. Copper also up 0.8%, so we're seeing some strength there. Just commodities generally looking quite strong at the moment, and we're seeing here that we're bullish on all three time frames. Yet to activate this bigger target of 67%. That would be quite key. US 10-year Treasury notes sitting at this 2.4%. We're not really moving much. We do have a downside target to 229. That's on the yield at 2.29%, and that's about 4.5% downside, and we are below the cloud. So maybe we are going to see US Treasuries just selling off a little bit this week with that weaker dollar as well. Apple was not up much overnight. In fact, it fell just very slightly. So it is bullish still on all three time frames, and we do have activated targets to 124, 129. So just gradually improving here. Google was up 0.65% overnight. So we are seeing still some tech stocks putting in pretty strong showings, up 2%, 5%. So we are seeing that as well. Amazon was up 1.2%, so quite a strong showing there from Amazon. Bullish on all three time frames, and we're seeing that theme really through tech. So tech is still looking pretty strong. And if we take a look at Microsoft, up very, very slightly, but it has got above the cloud here quite convincingly now. So we are starting to see some bullish action, and we've got upside targets here of 1.9 and 1.3%. And Facebook making a move, reporting earnings 1st of February, so starting to have a bit of a move up towards earnings next week. So we're seeing here bullish as well. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.